2, 1. I'm gonna start with prayer hands.
Oh boy.
Or do you want me to start with these hands? Let's start with emojis, whatever the emoji is.
Right. All righty. Hey, everybody. Hi, I'm so excited to be here with you guys again. This is another episode of 20 Seconds of Courage. I'm Tracy Robin, and today I'm talking with my friend Nick Killpack. I'm so excited to be here today with Nick. Nick is one of my friends and just a dear, dear soul who cracks me up. And you all know I love to laugh, but also has a lot of wisdom and knowledge to share about lots of things. And we're going to talk about those things. You have so much stuff to share. So much to share. So I thought we would start today by having Nick, if you can just tell us a little bit about who you are and about where you're living. For those of you just tuning in, I know Nick from doTERRA. We work together in doTERRA. We're part of we're all on the same team, in the same community, in the same family, as I like to call it. And Nick has been a wonderful mentor and leader and guide and coach and friend for us as we've built our own business in this awesome community of doTERRA. And I'm going to have him introduce himself and tell us a little bit about himself and maybe tell us a little bit of how you wound up in doTERRA and how you wound up in Hawaii.
What? Oh, you just revealed where I live.
Oh, sorry. No, I kind of told them.
Let's start over. Okay.
No, I kind of seeded that already. I seeded that already in earlier videos.
I was trying to do beach vibes in the background here, and then I was going to do some waves, and pretty soon my family's going to be coming by in a hula Congo behind me.
Very nice.
Congo?
That happens on a daily basis, right?
That's just how we live. Yeah. Most of the time it's just grass skirts and coconut bras around here. And then you'd be surprised what the girls wear too. Anyways. My name is Nick Killpack. Tracy and I have known each other for almost 7 years, which is kind of crazy. And it was 7 years, right?
Yeah, almost 7 years.
2013, yeah. I have been kind of involved in the natural health and wellness space since about 2007, 2008. 2007 is kind of when I was introduced to it. I'm a Utah boy, born and raised. I'm the youngest of 6 kids. From my dad's first wife, and then 6 more from the second wife, 6 more from the third wife, so on and so forth. Everybody knows the thing there. But no, I'm just kidding. My dad only had 1 wife with 6 kids, and I was the youngest. I always tell people my parents finally stopped having kids when they had a good one. So all of the youngest kids out there, you know what I'm talking about. And because of that, so here's a kind of a crazy thing, gives you a little bit of history for me. My parents had 5 kids in 6 years and me 6 years later. So even though I'm the youngest of 6, some regards, it feels like I'm an only child. And I still expect my wife today to treat me like the baby of the family. So it's nice to be doted on and taken care of. And I appreciate her placating to me on that. So I grew up in Utah. I've spent some time living out of state in various places. I've lived in Washington State, north of Seattle. I've lived in Dallas, Texas. And then most recently, about a year ago, almost in 2 weeks, it'll be a year. My family and I moved to the island of Maui in the state of Hawaii. And we absolutely love it. And when we're here, not permanently, we kind of have a little bit of that wanderlust in our veins, so to speak. And so we're just here for a few years to hang out. We've always been plains and mountain people for generations, both my wife and I's families, and neither of us have ever really been beach people. So we wanted to come and experience Hawaii while our kids are young. I have a 6-year-old and I have twin 3-year-olds. And so we're just having a good time and just enjoying the sunshine. And I know it's cold right now on the mainland, especially in Jersey. But yesterday I sweat my guts out playing golf.
Yeah, I
with
saw
my
that on Instagram.
And it was awesome. We had a great time. So that's a little bit about me.
Did he do well?
Sorry, what?
How did your son do on the green?
So it was my daughter, actually. My
Oh,
son is
oh, right, right, right.
yeah, they won't allow him on the golf course because he's too little. But my 6-year-old daughter actually was doing awesome. She was great through about 8 holes. And so she had 10 holes of it's too hot or I'm tired or give me another hot dog, dad, or I need some Gatorade or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But she did good through 8 holes, and yeah, we had a great time. It was awesome. It was a good time.
Oh, that's very cool. Very cool. So I want to talk a little bit about
there's so much to talk about. Let's
there's
just
so much
pull it all
to
back.
talk about. Like, what made you choose Hawaii? Like of all the places in the world, I know you said you wanted to experience water and mountain, but like there's a lot of places. You could have gone to California, you could go overseas, like Hawaii. Like,
yeah,
why?
that's a great question. So, you know, it's sometimes people just think, oh, we picked Hawaii and then we came here, right? But for anybody that knows me, or certainly that's ever made big plans to move anywhere, there are so many small steps and then big steps that you have to take to make a move like this happen. And especially for us, because we're self-employed, so it's not like we had an employer that was paying for us to move, or we had a time frame that we had to do it in. We had to create all of those things on our own. We had to figure out how we could afford to move our family here. We had to figure out when we were going to do it. And it's something that we talked about for literally years before doing, because I feel like everybody has a little bit of that magic in them that says, we just want to move to Hawaii, right? Or move to the beach. It might not be for everybody, but I think that there's a small little bit of that in all of us somewhere.
Move to Paris.
Or move to Paris, right? Yeah. Or Rome or something crazy. And but there is so much that goes with it. So for example, I mean, and I'm just going to give you real thoughts here. Some of it might be interesting and some of it might be boring, but we had real estate that we had to sell, right? Because like we couldn't manage that while we were gone. So that's like, we had this list last year, so last year being 2018, and the list was really long. It was about in February or March that we decided we were going to move to Hawaii in this year, being last year. And I said, okay. And we kept saying, well, we're going to move, but we just kept saying it. We didn't say when. And so I said, look, we need to make a move date, and then everything will work backwards from the move date. So I said, we're moving from our house on November 1st. My wife agreed. Okay, November 1st is the date. And that set in order or set in motion everything else that had to be taken place. So we had 2 renters in both of our different rental units that we owned. We had to let them know that by this time they needed to be out of the place. Then we had to go in, we had to repair those rentals, paint them, carpet them, all of the things we had to do. Then we had to list them, then sell them. And it had to be done very methodically. Once we did that, then we could finish the few little projects that we had to do on our Salt Lake house before we occupied that one and kind of got that ready for future rentals there. And then it was a matter of selling our cars, getting our dog immunized so that he could come over to Hawaii, him making the trip, figuring out kids, figuring out school, figuring out business, work. We had doTERRA's convention interweaved in all of that. And so it was a little bit of a dance. And the crazy thing about it, and I can say this now because it's funny and it's been a little while, and I just helped a close friend of mine go through the same thing, who is moving from Utah to North Carolina. And the thing is we had all of these things to do. And, you know, we started in March and we were moving in November, but like everything we were making progress, but the time frame in which to do it was being compressed to where literally all of the things that I just mentioned, selling multiple properties, selling cars, finding renters, dog things, all of that got pressed into about 5 weeks. But just because we were efficient in doing it in 5 weeks doesn't mean that we didn't do it without months of preparation, right? We weren't, what's the word? Where you're late, where you push things off?
Procrastinating.
What? Procrastinating, yeah. We weren't procrastinating. It's that we had all of these steps and that we were taking minor steps to like compress to do the big steps. So it was a crazy year last year. When we finally packed up, we had 6 bags, 9 carry-ons, 3 car seats, a double stroller, and my golf clubs, and then our kids. and just my wife and I, and then our 3 kids to move all of that stuff. And then to add insult to injury here, we're like, let's see how we can make this move just a little bit more challenging. So we're like, since we probably won't be bringing the kids back to the mainland for the next foreseeable future, let's go to Disney before we go. So we rented a rental car in Salt Lake, and we drove 12 hours to Disney with all of the stuff that we are moving with, okay? Because now we don't own a car. So we rented a van and we packed that thing so full. And we drove from Salt Lake City to LA, and we did Disney for 2 days. And then we returned our rental car in LA, got on an airplane, flew to Maui, and that was November 9th last year. So
amazing,
pretty crazy thing. And we've been here. We love it. We've lived in a couple of different places here on the island. We've finally bought a home here. And so now we're kind of settling in, and we go to the beach as often as we can. Our daughter's in school. Our kids are in extracurricular activities. And actually this week for fun, we're going to go spend some time on the east side of the island, more than the typical one day, you go over and back in a day, which is a really long day of driving. We're going to go over and spend some time in some cabins on the beach in Hana on the east side.
That sounds awesome. I love how you said none of it happened like even though that time got compressed, none of it happened just like that. Like it was all about conscious planning. I think that's in general something that's really, I know for me, I've been talking a lot about in these conversations, a lot about how, and it's sort of how it sparked for me. It's this concept of like, we're on social media all the time. We see a lot of highlight reels. You see the end results of a lot of people's lives, or the moment where they're like, okay, smile, but you don't know what else is going on like around that, 20, that's 1 second in a 24-hour period where there could be a lot of chaos and non-smiling things going on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's interesting to hear how you talked about getting clear on what you wanted, making a date, and working backwards from that date. Because I think so often what we see is the finished product. We see you living in Hawaii. So like, you're living in Hawaii, you're living the dream, like how that must be nice. I wonder how he got there, and then you fill in the blanks without really getting the real story behind it. Like, I didn't know. I think you told me, I think I saw that you had gone to Disney, but I didn't know you packed all your stuff in a van and drove to Disney.
Right.
Just to make things a little bit more interesting, of course.
Because we like to do things the hardest way possible.
That's actually, and I think that, but I want to address that because I don't think it has to be hard. And I think that a lot of times we think if it's not hard, I must be doing it wrong. Like in life, I think that's I know I see it a lot in business and in making money. When we talk a lot about making money is a big topic that I've talked about before with folks. And this, if it's simple, or if it's an easy thing, seems easy, it must be a scam. It must be like not real, or, so there's 2 things I'd love to discuss with you here on that subject is like, one is, how did you get clear on your desire? You and I, before we went live, Nick and I were talking, for those of you watching and listening, we were chatting like some of the topics that we wanted to cover today. And one of them was this idea of desire. And I'm going to let Nick talk a little bit about that, how he gets clear on it, and what are his techniques on getting clear on his desire. And also want to talk a little bit about doTERRA. I think I might want to talk about doTERRA and the structure and the multi-level marketing thing, because there's a lot of people doing that now. A lot of people doing it, a lot of people doing it not so successfully, a lot of people doing it some people doing it successfully, but I see a lot of people just sort of like throwing their hat in the ring and saying, oh, well, this seems like really good, like the get rich quick schemes that we see out there all the time, especially on social media. I know there was a lot of that in the coaching industry where it's like, click this and get this and that. And, I think there's no real shortcut. It's not like you blinked your eyes and you showed up in Hawaii. There were steps that you took. I think the same thing is true for, excuse me, any successful outcome on whatever you're doing, whether it's about making money or moving with your family to a place that you've really wanted to live in, or creating the outcome that you desire. First, I think it starts with getting clear on what you want, right?
Absolutely. So one of the things, and you're using the word, and it's keying me, and I love it. So we talked prior to going live about books, right? And reading and education and all of that stuff. And I've referenced this book for years, and I've looked at it. I've highlighted it, right? I've looked at pages, I've referenced chapters. This time I'm reading it cover to cover. And it starts in the beginning of the book with desire, right? And the book is obviously Think and Grow Rich for those of you who can't read. I was holding it up, assuming that you could all read, but let's just assume that not everybody can read, okay? The book is Think and Grow Rich. It's a timeless classic by Napoleon Hill. And it's a really fantastic book. I would strongly encourage everybody to read it. But he starts at the beginning of the book with desire and basically removing the word impossible from your vocabulary, right? And I know it sounds cliche. It sounds hocus pocus. It sounds like, you know, Nick is Mother Earth over here talking about the universe. But the idea is we are told what to think, right? We're basically told what to think and what to believe. A couple of years ago, there was an athlete that said, you know what? I don't know if I believe the world is round. Just because everybody says it's round, yeah, great. But I've never physically seen that it's round. I just have been told that it's round, right? And it started this whole obscene, obnoxious movement of, well, I don't know, is the world flat or is it round? Well, we don't know, right? I guess the only people that really know would be the astronauts. They've been up in space, but even they're seeing it in two-dimensional, really just out of a window, right? Who's to say that NASA's not putting a screen in front of them or something crazy? but the thing of it is we just believe what we're told, right? So just take out impossible and just really think about what you desire. If you don't know that it can't be done, if literally anything that you desire can be done, what do you desire? And like I said earlier to you, Tracy, I think that's probably the biggest step for most people is what do you desire? What do you want? If you could take it all away and say, look, tell me everything you want out of life, Tracy, everything. And I just want you, I'm going to put you on the spot here, but just give me your top, it doesn't even have to be your top three. Just give me three, just three things that Tracy wants out of life. Anything at all. Tell me. Anything at all.
I want good health.
Healthy.
I want to be surrounded by people I love and who love me. So
okay.
Community. And I want financial abundance so that I can be more generous and contribute more.
Okay. So healthy, community, financially stable, and maybe you could have some philanthropy interweaved with that.
Yeah.
I don't think that very many people would shy away from that. I think that you would fall into the category of most people, right? We all want to be healthy. Now, that's a whole other conversation for another day of what is health, right? Is it skinny? Is it muscles? Is it working out? Is it food? That's a whole other thing. But we all want to be healthy.
Let's put a pin in that one.
Yeah, seriously, put a pin there. But we all want community, right? You can look at different communities. You yourself, you're a yogi, right? There's people that look for community in their faith, in religion. There's people who look for community in their kids and what their kids are doing, or athletics, or sports teams. I think sports is the easiest way to identify community, right? Just a bunch of, like when I think of like sports, of course, the obvious is like football, right? I am not a football fan. I don't have a team. I don't have a skin in the game on any of those, right? I don't have a pig skin in the game. But the thing of it is you can get a bunch of crazy, wild people together, some that love to drink beer and eat pretzels, and some that love just the strategy, and some that love the event, or some that love the cheerleaders or the crowd or the production of the thing. And you can get them together and they can strip down everything in their life and cheer for one focus or one idea, which is we want this group of 11 dudes on the field to outdo the other group of 11 dudes on the field, and we want them to come out victorious, right? But you can look at the idea of community, and we all want to be part of a community. And sometimes we're part of multiple communities. And sometimes because of society, especially social media, we say, well, the community that I'm part of isn't good enough, right? Or I'm not part of enough communities. I need to be more involved. But the thing of it is you can be part of even one community and really love everything about your life. Like I know some people that are super committed and to their religious community, right? And they live and breathe in their religious community, and they're happy, fulfilled people because of it. Or I know other people that are like yourself, super committed to yoga, right? And they go and they're around their yogis, and they like being around other people that don't eat animals, or they like being around other people that can stretch into these crazy poses and positions, and they do it on these exotic places like beaches or on top of buildings or whatever. And it's all part of a community. We all want to feel part of it
Please
somewhere.
note, I don't do poses at the top of edges of buildings. Like that's a height, like I'm afraid of heights. So
Okay, well, take away the impossible, okay? It's just an edge. What can happen?
that's
What
true.
can happen?
Okay.
But anyways, but then I think it also comes down to when you were saying financial means too, right? And giving back. If I said like, yeah, do you want to be a millionaire? Of course you want to be a millionaire. Everybody wants to be a millionaire. But maybe the question that you should ask yourself is, what would you do if you were a millionaire? What would you do to better the world if you had the resources being money, to do it? What would you do? And so instead of saying, oh, I want all this money so I can sit on a pile of money. No, that's dumb, because money is really just a number on your computer or on your phone. It's just a little digit that says this is what you're worth, which is really nothing, because it's not what you're worth. You're worth way more than any little number on a screen can tell you. But that little number can do a lot for a lot of people. And what will you do with that little number or big number to affect or give? And I won't even say give back, but just to enrich society, to enrich humanity with your blessing, right? So you want to establish a life that you can enrich other human beings and help them. And maybe that's clothing, the people that don't have clothes, or feeding the hungry, or buying shoes, or helping people with a disease that's ultimately fatal or non-fatal. It does. I mean, we can go really extreme, or we can just go with small little things, right? Going and paying for a school lunch bill that is long overdue, that some family obviously doesn't have the opportunity to do. You and I could probably do that right now. We don't have to be millionaires to go to the public school and say, who has the biggest lunch bill? I would like to pay that bill.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
We can do back to little steps that compress to big stuff. What you'll do with $1 million is what you'll do with $100. Mm-hmm. So what will you do with $100 and what will you do with $1 million? It's the same thing, just you can do more of it.
Yeah. I always say, like, it's not the money that we desire. It's the experiences and the opportunities that the money will afford us, because it's an exchange of energy. Money is currency is energy. And I think people have to be careful. You even said it, like, it's not your worth. And I think people coming up with clarity on their desires is a challenge for them. I know I've seen it, especially because I work with a lot of women, and a lot of times, especially for girls, I'd love to hear what your experience has been, but like there's this conditioning, like we've been taught what to think, and there's somewhere in that conditioning where we've been trained to believe that we're not worth it, or that we're not allowed to have desires. I see it in a lot of my friends who are moms that, they put their families first and they forget about themselves, and then they don't realize that when their cup is empty, they don't have something to give. There has to be this understanding that you are worth it because you are here on this planet, in this body. Like, you were born worthy. You have a birthright to be happy and successful and healthy. And those choices that we make, come from that conditioning sometimes, and so it's about really, when we get to the point where we realize like something's not working, to really, I feel like if you pick up a book like Think and Grow Rich, for instance, that might be like almost I remember the first time I read it, because I read it several times. I think I've read it 5 times. And like the first twice, I read it twice through. And then the second few times, I usually just go back to see my notes just to get reminded. But like, that starts to blow your mind, and you start to be like, wait, like first it sounds like a foreign language, and then it starts to sink in slowly, and just like, wait a minute, that's not what I've been thinking. Is that like, and you start to see that there's another perspective. And I think that's part of why it's so important. That's why community, I think, is so important. That's why I'm having these conversations, because it's so easy. I was sharing with you earlier, like a lot of my training was, if you want something done right, do it yourself. You know, we hear that expression a lot. So a lot of my life and my business early on was about like, okay, I have to figure this out. I should have all the tools I need right here inside of me. And yes, there were books, and yes, there were teachers, and yes, there were coaches. But ultimately, I always felt very alone, because I felt like in the end, I just had to do it. I had to execute it by myself. And I think that, you know, there are really nothing that happens in a vacuum. And as I'm getting older, I'm realizing that more and more and more, like success, happiness, fulfillment, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. And when we try to do that, when we isolate ourselves and we take ourselves out of community and think like, oh yeah, I have to do this all by myself, it's like, it feels like you're pushing a rock uphill for hours and hours and hours and hours, and it's exhausting, and it takes the enthusiasm out. And I was talking about this with Lorinda on our conversation. You know, and theos is with God, with higher power, with spirit. And to have enthusiasm is to have that, to be filled with that excitement, that spirit, that vitality and liveliness and energy. And when you don't have that towards whatever it is you're doing, you start to lose interest. You start to feel like you're not getting anywhere, you know, and it turns you down. It turns you into just being unmotivated. And I think that's with any category, whether it's health or, you know, even in philanthropy. It's like, if you have funds and you're not giving, like if you have it and you're not giving, you get when you give, right? Like there's an exchange of energy that happens, even if you're being of service and you're not giving any money, you're just giving of your time. So I think that's
can I break in and just make one point? Because I think
please.
You, even just in your explanation, explained something that we can drill down on a little bit.
Cool.
And so you said it's like pushing a rock up a hill, right? And so when you say pushing a rock up a hill, I'm thinking of like a car-sized rock. Maybe it's not that big, right? Maybe I'm going crazy. But I think we all think, oh, yeah, like I'm doing this all on my own, and it has to be this big thing that I'm doing all on my own. But you know what? Try pushing a wet noodle up a hill. Okay, it's not the size of a car, certainly not the weight. Is it equally as frustrating? Probably, because you're pushing this thing that won't go anywhere, right? You're pushing the rock that won't go anywhere, but you're pushing a noodle with one freaking finger and it won't go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So no matter what the problem is, if you're doing it alone, it's equally as frustrating. It could be as heavy as a rock or as light as a wet noodle, and it's the same frustration that is pouring out of your body if you're doing it alone.
Oh my God, thank you for that distinction. I love that distinction. That's really valuable.
Yeah.
Yes, that's so good. It's so good. It's so good. Okay. And scene. No.
and the reason why I frame it that way is because you might say, well, you know, like the issues that I'm dealing with aren't that big, right? Or in some instances, they might be big. But oftentimes, you might just be dealing with a small issue, but don't deal with it alone. If it's a small issue, you can still get help with the wet noodle issue, and you certainly should get help with a rock issue. So yeah. I'm glad we're talking about noodles and rocks.
I know. I think noodles and rocks are like very valuable tools to learn about. And, you know, and
hashtag noodles and rocks.
Hashtag noodles and rocks. It's going to be totally there. Yes, that's fabulous. I love that distinction, Nick, because, you know, and I think that's part of why I love doTERRA. And if you'll play around with me, I'd like to talk about doTERRA just a minute. I mean, this is not really about promoting anything or anyone. I think it's important for me. Like, I just want to share also, like, for so long, I remember the first time I went to convention and how moved I was. It was 2017. Jason had just hit silver, and I was going to help him walk. I was just going to go to support him while he walked the stage to celebrate being a leader. And I just remember spending pretty much 3 straight days in tears. I think I ran out of tissues after the first day and a half because I was so moved by the heart of that company and the heart of the leader, the founders, and that they're real people with real hearts, and just like they're looking to help, to serve, and to do so with such beautiful products that can help people be empowered. Like, so for me, being there and being in a community where there's people that were like-minded, like you talked about, like yogis standing on a cliff and wanting to, like, people, whatever it is, you convene with other people that have like-minded with you. For me, being in a room with like 18,000 people who all want to have like to be happy and healthy and financial, like what I said to you, those three things, like have community, to have financial stability, to be loved, and it just like to be in a space where there were 18,000 people whose mission, vision, and purpose and like desire is so aligned with my own, blew me out of the water. Like I that emoji with the that was me for like 4 days straight, and then 2 months after. Like I was just like, I can't believe I just landed in this place where it's like, it's home. I know that sounds really hokey. You guys that are watching are pretty like, oh my God.
These two are wackadoodles. They lost
it. Is wackadoodle.
Let me just butter this up a little bit more, okay? Let me just make, like, I'm just gonna go like spiritual dad on you here, okay?
I'm just gonna do my emoji.
I don't know what you gotta do. I don't know what the ohms are, but anyways. So, and I told you this earlier, and I'm gonna sound so cheesy and geeky.
I love it. Give me the cheese.
I'm just a cheese ball.
Anyways, give me the cheese.
I'll give it to you. So I told you about this.
I'm lactose intolerant. No, okay.
I told you, look, I've had a crazy history in my whole life. And I oftentimes when like my wife or some friends will ask me why I don't cry over things, right? And I said, I've cried out all my tears and I don't have anything left. And I've had other friends that said, there's plenty of therapy that could help you through that, right? But here's the thing. Here's what makes it so cheesy and funny is that I cry over the dumbest things. So let me tell you what I cried over, okay? I'm flying on an airplane, right? And I'm watching a movie, and at the beginning of the movie, they have a little commercial for their airline, okay? They're not paying us for this, so I'm not gonna say their name just yet. But if they wanna sponsor us, I'll say their name. Anyways, and I'm watching this little film about their airline. And it says, in the beginning, and it starts with the birth of kids. It says, in the beginning, and it's showing these kids with different faces who look different from around the world. They said, we're really a lot more alike than we are different, right? In the beginning, when we were all kids, you were born from a mom, I was born from a mom. And guess what? Those moms loved us and they wanted to nurture us. They wanted us to get bigger. So they fed us and they changed us and they rocked us and they put us to sleep and all of those things. And there was eventually some division that started to happen. The older that we got, we were integrated into society more. We were exposed to more people, moved houses. Your parent maybe had to go back to work or whatever that was. And we started to get a little bit different. And then the purpose of this airline commercial was maybe that was the purpose of their mission, was to show us, even though we've come far from being babies to being adults and we're so different now, maybe the airline's mission was to help bring us back together, to help us understand each other more. And to parallel that with what you're saying. So first of all, I cried at the commercial. Yes, on an airplane. I don't cry over anything. And I'm just like, we're all the same. I'm thinking about this because I'm a freaking cheesy dad, but going back to doTERRA and going back to convention is you wanted health, community, and to give back, right? And guess what? Boom, you just got dropped in a space, in an arena, in a convention center that had 18,000 people in one building and another 12 to 15,000 people in another building. And guess what? All of those people essentially want the same thing that you want. And now it's like this overwhelmingness that you literally are pouring tears out of your body. You're probably sweating tears out, right? Because there's just so much connection. And we're all, we're of course we're different, but we all also are also the same. I just told my wife this yesterday or 2 days ago when I was talking to her about, right now I'm with doTERRA. I'm working with a group, okay? And I'm working with a group in Mexico that does not speak English. No habla español, right here, okay? No habla inglés, no habla español. I do not speak Spanish. But we are communicating through Google Translate. We're communicating through hand gestures and showing things like this through Zoom. But the thing that I've realized is even though we don't speak the same language, we still are speaking the same language. We're still concerned about the same things, right? They care about their kids. They care about their grandkids. They care about their friends. They want to be healthy. They want to help make some money. They want to put food on the table, right? They want all of these things. And so you strip down the borders between they're in Mexico and we're in the US, you strip down a border and just say that we're really the same, or it's like the same continent. We're the ones, our country, and I'm not getting political here, but like our society built up the walls, right? Canada is no different, right? It's all part of the same thing. We're the same as Guatemala. We're the same as Costa Rica, all the way down through Panama, Colombia, opened up South America. It's all connected. It's all land. You think the birds and the animals are saying, oh, you know what? Those are Mexican parakeets. We don't understand Mexican parakeets, or those are Guatemalan monkeys or whatever. I don't even know. I've never even been to Guatemala, right? But the thing of it is we are the ones that say that we're different, but really we're not. We're all the same. And I think I'm getting on a tangent here, but the idea is that when you're dropped into a space where you can relate to other people, it's definitely an emotional trigger and it can touch you. And I think that doTERRA has done that for me. I joined doTERRA for a myriad of different reasons, but the main reason was I wanted to do something on my own. I really did. I wanted to be my own boss, but I didn't feel like I had the skills or the wherewithal I didn't have enough specific skills to go and, be an electrician, or I didn't know enough about cars to go out and sell cars on my own car lot or go and build a home. I knew a little bit about some of those things, but I don't know very much. But do you know what I do know about is I feel pretty comfortable going and talking to people, right? And so doTERRA is like, hey, this is a business where you just kind of talk to people and you talk to them about lots of different stuff. And I like lots of different things, and I can talk to you about little bits of lots of different things. And I'm pretty good at that. And so I saw doTERRA as an opportunity to be part of a community where I can be okay at what I do, which is talk to people and help them feel good about their health, help them feel good about good decisions. And my dog's going to bark like crazy because my doorbell just rang. So it's just what we deal with. Crazy. It's okay. Hopefully I don't have to go get the door. Anyways, that's my tangent. I'm done. Prayer hands.
That was not a tangent. It was I think it's very on point. I think that piece of like being in and being able to do work that fills you like that on a daily basis, I think is important for our growth and for success. There's a lot of people out there that are successful but not fulfilled. And for me, I don't want to sacrifice either. I do work. I've done work, and how do you define success? Like, I know for me, like being fully transparent for a long time, like I've been very fulfilled in my work as a yoga teacher, but I'm not always financially successful the way I want to be because of it. Because there's, there are a lot of opinions out there about spirituality and financial stability being at odds with each other. Like you can't be spiritual and wealthy, which I think is a crock of hoo-ha. But, changing that paradigm, it does feel like you're pushing a rock uphill or a noodle uphill by yourself. And I think that connectedness, that working together is so important. So let me just ask you a question on the same topic. So if we're all wanting, like, let's say we're all wanting some version of that, why is it that, I'd love to hear your take on this because I have my own opinions about it. Why do you think there's such a stigma around multi-level marketing?
That's a great question. And I wish that you were the first person that's ever asked me that question.
I know, me too.
Unfortunately, you're the 1 millionth person that's ever asked me.
What did I win? You win a bottle of sage.
Won an exclamation. Yes. Oh.
Yay!
Woohoo. Okay, so MLM, network marketing, pyramid scheme, what are other names? I'm trying to think. One of those multi-level things, right?
Oh, they call it
morons losing money.
People will call it a scam. They'll call it a scam or a scheme. Scamway.
Yeah, scamway. Yeah, all this stuff. So here's the thing. First of all, you shouldn't get offended when somebody says that. So
why?
Well, it's not a personal attack on you. It's an attack on an idea that maybe they know something about, or maybe they don't know something about. So what you should do is say, if somebody says, oh, one of those MLM things, or oh, one of those scam things, you say, you try to meet them where they're at. Oh, it sounds like you've had a bad experience, Tracy, right? Tell me a little bit about your experience. You can either ask them specifically with the company, or you don't have to. You could say, tell me about your experience with my industry, with the industry that I'm part of, okay? So then somebody that I'm talking to, in this example, Tracy, give me some examples of maybe some stuff that you've heard. What are bad experiences that people have had? Doesn't have to be a lot.
They asked me to put out I have to put out all this money, and then I have all this product. I'm never going to use it. I don't want to have to buy something every month.
Okay, perfect. Those three are perfect. Okay, so they asked me to put out all this money, product that I'm never going to use, and something that I have to do every month. And I'm like, okay, awesome, all right, perfect. And so you saw that there was some issues with that. So what was the issue with putting out money? Well, I didn't want to buy product. Well, why didn't you want to buy product? Well, I didn't feel like the product worked. Okay, that's a pretty obvious thing. Guess what? I would completely be in your same boat, because I don't want to buy a product that doesn't work. So if the product doesn't work, guess what? I'm not going to be part of your group. I'm not going to be part of your company. So don't pressure me to buy it, and don't say, hey, you're going to make money because other people are going to buy it, because guess what? Other people are probably not going to like the product either, because I didn't like it. And I'm not saying that we're all the same, but it could work for some people. But if I don't like it, it's very hard for me to promote it. Okay. I'm going to give a really bad example here. Okay. Don't judge me for it. Don't judge me. I'm stripping down here. Okay?
No judgment. No judgment. This is a safe space. This is a safe space.
Okay. Have you ever heard me use the name Mountain Dew before?
Yes, I believe I have.
No, you haven't. Because Mountain Dew is disgusting. I hate Mountain Dew. It is absolutely awful. It's like drinking gasoline.
Okay, I have a friend who absolutely loves Mountain Dew.
Here we go. Perfect. Awesome. I want to talk to that friend, because guess what? Coke is so much better. Coca-Cola is so much better than Mountain Dew. And I will champion Coca-Cola because I think it's delicious, right? But they're both soft drinks.
What about Pepsi?
I will drink regular Pepsi, but I will not drink Diet Pepsi. I won't do it. I can drink Diet Coke, but I cannot drink Diet Pepsi. Again, but I'm committed to Coke here. I'm committed. No, the point that I'm getting at is I will gladly throw accolades and love for the things that I enjoy, but you shouldn't expect me to promote the things that I don't enjoy, right? So if you had a company that you didn't like their products, don't be part of the company, right? So that's the first thing. So find the common ground. You know what? I would agree too. I wouldn't want to order products that I didn't like or didn't use. So that would frustrate me too. Okay. Right. And the other thing you said is they want me to order every month. Right. And I say, okay, well, have you found products that you like? Sure. So this is another person, a different example, right? So is there products that you like? Sure. What are some of those products? Okay. Well, I like, in the example of doTERRA, I like lemon oil. Okay. All right, perfect. Well, what are you using lemon for? I put it in my diffuser. Awesome. So do you think that you'd like to continue to put it in your diffuser? Of course. How much lemon do you need a month? Well, I can probably get by with one bottle for 2 or 3 months, right? So I don't want to have to order again next month because I've already got the lemon that I need. So then you could say, well, what if I could teach you new ways or additional ways or further enlighten you on how to use more lemon? Not because I want you to buy all the lemon there is in the world, but did you know that you can use it to clean your fruit? Did you know that you can use it to clean your toilets? You can drink it in your water. You can use it as a sanitizer or wipe down your counters after you prepare food. Do you know that you can use it to get gum out of hair or get that sticky tackiness off of your fingers if you just pulled a sticker off? Or put maple syrup or sap or something on you? It happened with my kids the other day. Did you know that you could use lemon for all of those other things? No, I didn't. Okay, cool. Well, you should start using it for some of those other things and see how fast you go through a bottle of lemon oil, right? Because chances are, if you're using it for those other things, you're probably going to need another bottle. And I want to show you how you can effectively get that every month and at the absolute best cost. I agree with you. I don't want another bill. I'm the person who pays the bills in my family. I hate paying bills. I don't want to pay more bills. doTERRA is not another bill for me. doTERRA is part of our spending, right? It's just like the grocery store. And yes, I'm not buying fruit from doTERRA yet anyways. I'm not buying fruit from them like I would go buy fruit at the grocery store.
Right.
But I am buying stuff that I use that are our everyday household things. And I am talking about essential oils, and I'm talking about skincare, and I'm talking about personal care, and I'm talking about supplements and all those things. So when people, you just have to kind of get to where, what the root of the problem is. So then here's another one, and this happens all the time, and you didn't mention this, but one of those pyramid things. Yeah, my parents got involved with one of those. Or yeah, my sisters lost a lot of money. Well, what happened with those people? Well, all I know is that they lost a lot of money and that they're not good. Okay, so they had a bad experience. So you only know about their bad experience, right? And guess what? If all I was exposed to was bad stuff, of course you're going to feel negative about it. So let me expose you to the positive, okay? Network marketing allowed me to quit my corporate job. It allowed me to start working more at home, which didn't mean I spent all this time with my kids just yet, but I did work at home. I worked around my family, so much so that I went and I got an office outside of my house. That's something that not everybody talks about, working at home, because when you work at home, you can only get so much done before pretty soon here, my family's going to be walking in the door, right?
Right.
And it's going to get chaotic and crazy and loud, and I'm going to need some space. So I had to go, even though I was so excited to work from home, I went and rented an office outside of my house so I could get work done, right? And so you have to start looking at those things. But then I went from work, coming at home, working at home, getting an office, building up our team, doing some traveling, leaving my family, coming back. And now you go back to kind of full circle in our conversation here, where I do have flexibility. Now we live in Hawaii. Now we go to the beach. I still do work. I do it from my phone here, there, while I'm traveling, going, whatever. But I've arrived at this other place. You're seeing me at this point in my life at an A game place, right? At a form, and you use the term success is kind of relative, right? But at some form of, most people would realize or recognize it as some form of success, right? But you don't see the stream of things that led up to it. And certainly there was some frustration along the way, the extra bill to pay, this product that you don't know about or like or whatever. But yeah, those people are going to have a negative effect about network marketing because that was their experience. But let me give you my positive experience to outweigh it. And then once you have some perspective here, let's talk about apples to apples, right? So either your actual experience in network marketing or what somebody told you, and then what my experience is. And now let's draw the parallels and say, if you had my same experience, Tracy, I'm asking you now, if you knew that at the end of your network marketing business, and this isn't the end, but in the future of your network marketing business, you could pack up and you and Jason could move to Hawaii, or you and Jason could go live in Rome, or you and Jason could go to every yoga festival for the remainder of time on earth, and you could just be a nonstop traveling yoga circus, okay? And that was part of your vision, part of your desire.
Yeah.
Would you be like, maybe I could get behind network marketing?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, right? It's freedom.
Absolutely, because one of the big things is time freedom. Time freedom is such a huge desire for so many people. I want time and money freedom. I want time and money freedom. I hear it constantly. And I love what you said about doTERRA not being another bill that's just part of the spending. Like, it's part of our budget. Like, and it takes me and I don't think people realize it takes me half the time in the supermarket. I don't go to the body care products. I don't go to vitamins. I don't buy any of my medicines in the drug section at all. I don't even buy toothpaste there. I don't buy any. I think once in a while I have to get Band-Aids, and sometimes I buy alcohol swabs. And
wouldn't it be awesome if they came up with a CorrectX Band-Aid?
Oh my God.
CorrectX loaded in the Band-Aid and they just put it on?
Yeah, I know.
Hello.
And a latex-free Band-Aid. We're putting it out into the ether.
Yeah, nothing's impossible. And I think you can put CorrectX in a Band-Aid.
CorrectX in a Band-Aid would be amazing. Yeah. For those of you watching, CorrectX is like doTERRA's Neosporin, but it's way better. It's like helichrysum and frankincense and lavender and melaleuca in a gel, and it's like it's like I can't say enough. It's amazing. But
you know what they should do, Tracy? They should probably contact you and ask for one. Maybe you'd send them one to sample. I'm just saying. I'm throwing it out there.
A Correct-X?
Yeah, if somebody's like, hey,
If
what's
you're interested in
Correct-X?
just hit me
I'm
up.
telling you right now, if you want to try some Correct-X, contact Tracy. She will send you some to try it out.
It's
Change your life.
awesome. It's great for cuticles, cuts, you name it. You can use it as lip balm. Like, it's great. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, I love that you said that it's part of your spending, because that's one of the things I'm trying to educate people on now, as you know, that it's not just like, because a lot of people will be like, oh, well, there's a lot of education. I don't know how to use these oils. I'll just use the starter kit. That's great. And you can use them for this and this, you know, education piece. But people will say like, I'll never use that many oils. I'm like, okay, well, do you wash your hair? Or they'll say, I don't know how to use the oils. I said, well, I'll educate you. And then, you know, I said, well, I don't have to teach you how to use soap. And if I do, that's a bit of a problem. You know? Yep. So this is awesome, Nick. I am so grateful that you took the time out of your very busy schedule from hopping from beach to beach and golf course to golf course.
It's tough. It's very tough. Somebody's got to do it. Just living my best life over here. I've had nothing but cupcakes and rainbows my whole life, Tracy. I've had no hard knocks, no learning curves.
If I had he's lying. He's lying.
Emoji, lying emoji.
Whoa. Oh my God, such a pleasure always to talk to you. I hope you all have enjoyed watching and listening to my friend Nick Killpack. He's super fun and entertaining, and I've invited him to play us out with a little of his talented ukulele.
I thought you would never ask. So one of the things that I've committed to doing by living in Hawaii is to teach myself how to play the uke. So I got a uke last year for Christmas. I don't know if it was my wife or Santa Claus who brought it, but regardless, I've been teaching myself on YouTube, and I am an awful ukulele. That's how they say it on the islands, folks, not ukulele, ukulele or uke. And so I'm teaching myself how to play the ukulele. So I apologize, but I'm going to play us out. You just stop it whenever you want to stop. I'm just going to keep playing until I no longer see your face.
He's nervous. Don't be nervous.
I've never played to an audience before. Depending on how big this audience is, I don't know. We probably lost.
I don't know. Meanwhile, when I started talking to Nick earlier, he was playing like a rock star. No pressure. It's just you and me here, bud.
I got sweaty fingertips right now. I got sweaty fingertips. Here we go. We're gonna play a song called "O.P.E. Man." Here we go.
Are you gonna sing?
No. Thanks, Tracy, for having me.
Thank you so much, Nick. Thank you all for watching and listening. Please, if you have any questions or comments, post them below. Tag me or Nick, and we'll answer them in there. Share this with your friends. If there's anything in here that you felt was interesting, if there's anything else you want to hear or learn about or talk about, if you want to have a conversation with me, put it in the comments below and let's have a conversation. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of 20 Seconds of Courage. I'll see you next time.
Aloha.
Aloha.